So now we'll explain matrix multiplication. So to understand that, we have this equation. So this is the first matrix. It has 2 rows and 2 columns. And this is the second one. It has, again, 2 rows and 2 columns. And so multiplication works a little bit different. You will multiply the first column of the first matrix with the second row of the second matrix. So you will multiply this by this to get the first number up there. And then you will multiply this with this to get the second number in the first row in the second column. And then you will multiply this with this to get this, and you will multiply this again with this to get this. So this sounds a little bit confusing, but let me write it down for a second. Okay, so our final solution will look like this again. So it's 2 rows and 2 columns. And to find the first one up here, so as I said, you will multiply this row with this column. So this is -3 times -3. So -3 times -3 here. And then you will add this with -5 times 4. So -5 times 4. This will be 9, and this will be -20. So we have 9 plus -20 for this one right here, which is -11. And so we have the first one. Okay, now to get this number, we have to use this column this time, and again this row. So we have -3 times 1, which is -3, and we have -5 times -6, which is 30. And then so it looks like this. All right, and then we add these together and we get 27. All right, so adding these together, we get 27 here. So we have our second number. And for the other ones below, we do the exact same thing. So this row, the second row, times the first column for this number, and the second row times the second column for this number. And we will do this exact same. So the first number in the first row times the first number in the first row times the first number in the first column, and the second number in the first row for the second number in the first column. Okay, so we've done these calculations, and the final result is -27 and 23. So this is the final matrix. So if this was matrix 1 and this was matrix B, this one is matrix AB. When multiplying matrices, you have to look out it's not like 1 times 2 is the same thing as 2 times 1. So you can just like switch them up, not all the time, but sometimes you can. So matrix AB is not the same thing as matrix BA. So just keep an eye on that. The biggest difference between adding to matrices or subtracting to matrices or multiplying to matrices is that you don't need the same number of rows or the same number of columns. So looking at this example, we have 3 columns and 2 rows, but 3 rows and just 2 columns. However, we can also multiply these. Multiplying these two matrices works the exact same as the ones before. So we take 1 times 3, 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 0, and minus 1 times minus 2. So again, the first row multiplied by the first column. So we just need the same number of columns here as the same number of rows here. So that's the biggest difference here when multiplying two matrices. So after calculating all these rows and columns, we come up with this solution. And so you can see there are just 2 rows and 2 columns, but this one has 3 columns, 2 rows, and this one has two rows and 3 columns. So this is the biggest difference between addition and subtraction and multiplication of a matrix. And so we did the exact same thing as we did before. It's the same thing, just with more numbers. So for example, we again take this row multiplied by this column. So 1 times 3 and 2 times 0 plus -1 times -2. So we come up with 5. And so we put this in up here. And then the next one we do this row and this column. So 1 times 1, 2 times -1, and -1 times 3. So we come up with and adding all these together, we come up with -4. So we put in -4 here, and we do this again and again for each matrix multiplication. Now again, to prove that we're right, we will do the exact same thing with our GDCs. So again, what we will do is click on second matrix, and then again we have our A and B matrix. So we go all the way to edit, and again make sure this is the number of rows and this is the number of columns. So you type in your whole matrix for the first one. Make sure it's matrix A, because matrix A and B, if you switch them when multiplying, it could be that they don't have the same solution. After typing in your both of your matrices, you go to second and matrix again, and you click on your first one, and you click the multiplying button, and second and matrix again, and you click on your matrix B. So you have A matrix times B matrix, and you click on equal, and this is your solution. And this solution also does match up with it also does match up with our calculations. Yeah, so this is how you multiply matrices, add matrices, or subtract matrices from each other with and without GDC. So yeah, I hope you liked it.